year 1917 saw the end of an era in Russia. The Bolshevik Party, led by Vladimir Lenin, came to political power after overthrowing the provisional government. Driven by the promise of peace, bread, and land, Lenin's newly established rule ended the country's involvement in World War I, and in 1922 birthed the USSR, the world's first communist state. Vladimir Lenin died in 1924, only 2 years after the inception of the USSR. His tomb was built at the Red Square in the center of Moscow, where his legacy as a Russian revolutionary would not soon be forgotten. Lenin's successor, Joseph Stalin, was to become perhaps the foremost influential political figure of the mid-20th century. A native of the nation of Georgia, and a member of Lenin's Bolshevik Party, Joseph Stalin would assume the role of dictator by the end of the 1920s. Stalin's vision, a modernized world power to rival that of the capitalist nations, required a revolution from above. To achieve this, Stalin put into effect a plan for rapid industrialization. The country heavily allocated its labor and capital into heavy industry as an effort to combat the potential threat of war with other countries. Furthermore, agriculture became collectivized into large state-owned farms as a means to increase crop productivity and support the growing economy. Stalin's 5-year plan would have innumerable consequences. The expected targets themselves were unrealistic: a 250% increase in industry development and 330% in heavy industry. Collectivization, deemed a socialist transformation, was met with extreme animosity by much of the peasantry. These communities spoke out against Stalin and what was seen as a tyrannical assault on their way of life. In turn, the state began framing wealthier peasants, also known as kulaks, as enemies of the Soviet Union. Soon, the Soviet Union began carrying out dekulakization, a plan to eliminate the resistant peasants through violence, eviction, deportation, and execution. During these 5 years, an estimated 11 to 14 million peasants died due to famine caused by Stalin's implemented policies. As Stalin's reign went on, it became rife with paranoia. He executed a great purge, killing off suspected opponents of the Communist Party and using severe police surveillance to maintain dominance over the Soviet Union. Russia was thrown back into war with Germany in World War II, culminating in the Eastern Front, which to this day stands as the largest military confrontation in history. 8 to 10 million Soviet troops perished during this time. In the aftermath of World War II, the world would see a new conflict begin to rise, this time between Soviet Union and the US. The Cold War would carry on until the end of the 20th century, bringing with it the decline of communism in Russia.